Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the UC Santa Cruz Silicon Valley campus. It's really nice to have you all here today. I'm John McMillan. I'm going to be making introductions today. But we really want to welcome you to the 8th Annual India and U.S. Conference, Beyond Deals, Can the U.S.-India Compact Deliver? We're greatly appreciative of the All India Management Association for their partnership and really enjoy the conversation that we've had with AIMA over the years and throughout the day today. It's my pleasure for the keynote session to introduce our first speaker and introduce the welcomer, Cindy Larive. Cindy is the Chancellor of UC Santa Cruz, which is a public research institution known worldwide for its high-impact research, commitment to sustainability and environmental justice, and for seeking interdisciplinary solutions to the world's greatest challenges. Cindy?
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, John. Welcome, everybody, to the U.S.-India Conference, co-hosted by AIMA, the All India Management Association, and UC Santa Cruz. We're honored to host this gathering for the third year. I want to recognize the esteemed members of the AIMA delegation, led by Sunil Kant-Majal and Director General Rekha Sethi. It was a privilege to join your National Management Convention in New Delhi just last month, and I'm delighted to welcome you back to our Silicon Valley campus. I deeply value the relationship that AIMA and UC Santa Cruz share. I also want to thank K. Shrikar Reddy, Consul General of India at San Francisco, for his presence today. It underscores the importance of this event and of the relationship between our two countries, a relationship, I will say, that I value personally very deeply. I'm proud, too, of the many UC Santa Cruz faculty and students who are participating today. Our campus is a research powerhouse committed to high-impact work and to addressing the most pressing problems of our time. We meet today at an important moment in U.S.-India relationships. Even when our governments face challenges, our institutions, our business communities, our diaspora ties remind us how much we share. We value our partnership with AIMA, with Indian universities, with the Indian community here in Silicon Valley. Together, we have both the opportunity and the collective responsibility to demonstrate that respectful collaboration can thrive in any political climate. This summit is a chance to set aside politics, we're in a bubble, and explore shared challenges and propose collaborations that strengthen both our economies and our societies. I look forward to today's discussions and to the new connections and ideas that I know will emerge. So thank you again for being here. Together, we can build a stronger U.S.-India partnership.
Thank you, Cindy. Next, I would like to welcome Rekha Sethi. Rekha is the Director General of AIMA, the voice of Indian leaders and managers and the apex body for management in India. She has led AIMA since 2008, deepening AIMA's relationships with the government in India and India's top industry leaders. Rekha, please.
Dr. Shrikar Reddy, Mr. Sunil Kant-Majal, Mr. T.V. Narendran, Cynthia, ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to you all, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the 8th US-India Conference hosted here at the Silicon Valley campus of UC Santa Cruz. This is a partnership that AIMA deeply cherishes, not just for the intellectual richness it brings, but for the warmth, trust, and shared purpose that define it. We've had the privilege of working with UC Santa Cruz on 3 editions of this conference, following 5 earlier ones with UC Berkeley. And I must say, each time we come together, this collaboration feels more like a reunion of kindred spirits than a formal engagement. I'd like to express a sincere gratitude to Dr. K. Shrikar Reddy, Consul General of India at San Francisco, and his colleagues at the Consulate for their generous support and encouragement. Your commitment to strengthening India-US ties is deeply appreciated, and we are honored to have you with us today. I want to specially acknowledge Chancellor Cynthia Larive. Cindy, your relationship and your leadership has been nothing short of transformative. You have elevated UCSC not only in academic excellence and research, but also in inclusion, diversity, and global engagement. AIMA is proud to call you a partner and a friend, and we look forward to many more initiatives together. I would like to recognize PK Agarwal, Dean of the Silicon Valley campus, or PK as he is fondly called, a dear friend and a tireless champion of this partnership. PK, your vision and energy have been instrumental in making this conference a reality, and we are truly grateful. A heartfelt thank you to the entire UCSC team who have worked behind the scenes with such dedication and grace. Kerry, Dinah, Devin, Christine, Manasi, Scott, Stephanie, you have made this experience seamless and special, and we truly appreciate you. To our distinguished speakers, thank you for lending your time, your insight, and your voice to this dialogue. Your presence elevates the conversation and inspires action. Our thanks to Dr. John Macmillan, Vice Chancellor for Research at UCSC, for anchoring this event with such clarity and conviction. A very special thank you to Mr. Sunil Kanmunjal and Mr. T.V. Narendran for their invaluable help in shaping this program. Your strategic guidance and thought leadership have been instrumental in curating today's agenda and also the CEO's program. I would like to acknowledge the entire CEO's delegation, which is here from India, for their unflinching support and belief in India-US relationship. And a very, very special shout out to our two long-standing sponsors and friends, Sharad Singh and Navneet Singh. Your unwavering support over the years has helped us build and sustain this platform, and we are so grateful for your belief in our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme, US-India, normalization or resets, asks a timely and complex question. Are we witnessing a strategic recalibration or simply a momentary pause in an otherwise resilient partnership? The recent tensions over tariffs and energy sourcing have stirred debate, but they have also revealed the depth of interdependence between our two nations. In a world marked by shifting alliances, technological rivalries, and economic realignments, the India-US relationship remains one of the most consequential. It's not just about trade or diplomacy, it is about shaping the rules of engagement in a multipolar world. Whether through joint innovation, shared democratic values, or mutual strategic interests, this partnership has the potential to define the global order of the 21st century. Today, we'll explore whether the current moment is a pause, a pivot, or a prelude to deeper alignment. We'll dive into the geopolitics of AI, the fragility of peace, and the future of human health. And through it all, we'll reaffirm the value of dialogue, collaboration, and shared vision. Thank you once again for being here. Let's make this a day of meaningful exchange and lasting impact. Thank you.
Thank you for the nice welcoming words, Rekha. For our first address, I would like to welcome T.V. Narendran. T.V. is the CEO and Managing Director of Tata Steel Limited. As the CEO, he has overseen the organic and inorganic growth of Tata Steel. He also serves as the president of AIMA and is a fellow of the Indian National Academy of Engineering. In addition to that, he's involved in a number of education initiatives, being on the board of governors for multiple schools, including IIT Kharagpur. TV?
Thank you, John. Dr. Shrikar Reddy, the Consul General of India at San Francisco. Cynthia Larive, the Chancellor, University of California, Santa Cruz. Sunil Munjal, the Chairman, AIMA International and Chairman, Hero Enterprise. John, I have already thanked. Rekha Sethi, the Director General of AIMA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here at the Silicon Valley campus of UC Santa Cruz. And my thanks to Cynthia for hosting this important conference and for a warm hospitality earlier today and also yesterday. AIMA deeply values its association with UCSC, and I hope that we can expand our collaboration into education and research. AIMA Center for Management Education and the Young Leaders Council also offers promising revenues for such engagement. Dr. Reddy, it's an honor to have you with us, and thank you again for your hospitality today as well as yesterday. Your leadership in strengthening the US-India economic and strategic relationship is invaluable, and we look forward to your insights on how industry and academia can deepen their cooperation across borders. Sunil and Rekha, thank you for bringing this conference to life. I think they've been doing it every year. It's my first year with them at this conference. And your optimism and resolve are especially meaningful in a moment when the US-India relationship is facing turbulence. It's precisely this kind of positive engagement that helps us move beyond misgivings and towards consolidation. The US-India relationship has long been anchored in shared democratic values and economic ambition. But recent developments, from retributive tariffs to disruptive visa fees, have tested the resilience of this partnership. The Compact's $500 billion trade vision now faces headwinds, with India's exports to the US potentially halving this year. The proposed $100,000 H-1B visa fees adds further to the uncertainty, especially for the US firms that rely on Indian tech talent to drive innovation. These measures, while tactical, risk undermining the strategic trust built over decades. Yet this moment of friction may also be a moment of opportunity to reset the terms of engagement with greater clarity, mutual respect, and a long-term vision. India and the US are deeply intertwined in digital technologies and increasingly in industrial and military domains. In fact, just before this session, we had a conversation where the Consul General was explaining to us that on multiple dimensions, there's a lot of progress, while on trade, there may be a lot more noise than we've seen in the past. India's exports, labor and intellect intensive, complement the US economic model, and conversely, there's significant room for growth in the US industrial, military and tech exports to India as our economy modernizes. The growing interoperability of our armed forces signals a shift towards a deeper strategic integration, and with shared security concerns, collaborations in arms development and production is both logical and necessary. India has a talent and the industrial base to produce efficiently, and the US brings advanced capabilities and scale. This is not just about buying and selling, it's about co-creating the future of technology, security, and innovation. Green technologies offer another frontier for cooperation. Both nations must reduce the dependence on China's near monopoly in rare earths and develop alternate materials for electric vehicles and renewable energy. Together, we can innovate faster, better, and more affordably. However, the assumption that India is a natural alternative to China for US companies must be revisited. Steep tariffs makes relocation economically unviable, and a reset must include a realistic reassessment of supply chain strategies and incentives for industrial collaboration. We must ask, are we building resilience or are we just reacting to a disruption? India's self-reliance drive has gained momentum, but we recognize the indispensability of trade with the US. A successful trade deal must assure businesses, workers, and consumers in both countries that they will be better off. Governments must protect domestic interests, but also reconcile them with global ambitions. A tactical deal may test each side's willingness to compromise, but the broader framework of cooperation, economic, strategic, and technological, should guide the relationship. Flexibility, measurable targets, and mutual respect must underpin this reset. Let us not allow the short-term turbulence to derail a long-term partnership. India's industrial base is evolving rapidly. From steel and manufacturing to semiconductors and clean energy, we are building capacity not just for domestic needs, but for global supply chains. US companies have a unique opportunity to partner with Indian firms, not just as vendors, but as co-innovators. Equally, the flow of talent must remain open and predictable. Indian professionals have contributed immensely to US innovation and vice versa. Disruptions in visa regimes or talent mobility can hurt both economies. A reset must include a renewed commitment to nurturing this human bridge. So is this a normalization or a reset? Perhaps it is both. A normalization of expectations that even close partners will disagree, and a reset of priorities towards deeper integration in trade, technology, and industrial strategy. There is, without doubt, a strong business case for normalization, but normalization alone may not be enough. A pragmatic reset, one that respects each other's sensitivities while advancing shared goals, may be exactly what this relationship needs. So let's build a partnership that is not just resilient, but regenerative, one that adapts, innovates, and leads together. Thank you, and for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, TV. You know, the comments that you made about co-creating and co-invention are so meaningful at this moment in time as we think about all aspects of the work we do, really coming together as communities around that invention, and that creation is so important. So really, thank you for those remarks. Next, I would like to welcome Sunil Munjal. Sunil is a second-generation member of the family that founded the Hero Group, India's premier automotive manufacturing group that has evolved from being the world's largest bicycle maker to the largest two-wheel maker. He is now the chairman of Hero Enterprises. Sunil also serves as the chairman of AIMA International and has co-founded BML Munjal University and is president of the Dainan Medical College and Hospital. Sunil.
Dr. Reddy, Cindy, Naren, Rekha, John, PK, and friends. You know, I was just thinking a little bit earlier. We come here every year, and we have conversation in this very room. And many of the people here are the same faces one has seen earlier, and there are, of course, some new every year. So I was wondering, this question that we are asking, what do the people here think about this? We can stand here and pontificate, but I think this is an issue to do with people, much more with people than only policy. We have heard from the Consul General earlier, as Naren mentioned, there are many parts and many aspects of this relationship which are going on as if nothing's changed. But then why do we need to ask this question? There obviously must be something that has changed. So a normalization would be just comfort. But I think reset would be a regeneration right now. And because there is aspiration on both sides to not just continue things as normal, but to make a step change for the better. And I'm hoping we see this only as a slight slowdown, as a speed bump along the road, which has caused what appeared to be serious challenges on one hand. But then again, if you look at it in the larger scheme of things, most things are continuing as if nothing has changed, except the news, especially on social media, about how Indians are looked at by some parts of the world, both within the countries that they choose to call their second home, and also how within a country like the US, there is public opinion forming, which is creating groups of individuals, families, blocks of people who look at each other differently. That I'm different from you. So I need to see you as being something different, which is not necessarily in a good way. Which is why I said this is actually a human issue. This is not just a public policy issue. It is not only a government issue. The reason this relationship is critical and important is, first, it's not a new relationship. It's been building up for a long, long time, especially if you see what happened in the last 30 years. This came into high gear and got accelerated, and we also heard statements of the kind saying this will be the defining relationship of this century. Statements made by individuals as important as the president of the country. And interestingly, if you think about this, there are actually no two countries more alike. No two countries which have plurality, democracy, rule of law, where people are genuinely allowed to practice enterprise, to express themselves, to make friends across the full spectrum. So why would we and why should we not have a relationship which is both more endearing and more enduring than the many across the globe? But as we know, geopolitics is many dimensional. It is never a unitary focus. In fact, what people are saying right now is the reason for some of this disruption is that when you start to look at things in slices of time and with one dimension, then you get disruptions. But if you look at all of the dimensions, it is still a healthy relationship. I don't think there is anybody in this room who does not have a relationship across both the geographies, who does not have some connection, a family member either studying or living or working across both ends. And we have a 12-hour time difference, so it's not as if we're next door. But there is just so much connecting us. Our roots in education, in research, in looking at big solutions of how do we actually bring back relief to the planet. We've abused this planet for a long time, and sustainability for a while became a fashionable word. But now, of late, we find there are interesting solutions being found in many parts of the world. Can we figure out a way to pick the good solutions and figure out a way to transfer that knowledge on both ends? Can we look at the development taking place in biosciences and health? Because that truly matters. You have the largest budget in the world for healthcare, yet not all Americans get the care they need. We have a different problem in India. We have fantastic healthcare at the top end, but if you take 2 steps down, both the quality and the reach tend to suffer. But we do it at a cost, which is a fraction of the cost that's done here. So there is something to learn from both ends. If we can use the new technologies that are available, if we can use the magic of artificial intelligence to leapfrog a few steps and stages to find solutions, practical working solutions to big world problems, I think we would truly create the bridge that we are looking for. And I cannot think of 2 other countries better equipped than the US and India to do this together. Whether it's launching satellites, as you know, India does it at a fraction of the cost of any other country, and we have launched satellites for the US along with multiple other countries. Looking at weather patterns. There are just so many, the list is enormous, and the opportunities are phenomenal. So there is more than enough for us to focus on as things we can do in partnership and not in an adversarial manner. There will, of course, be competition, like in any 2 nations. On the margins, we will have competition in multiple areas. And that's absolutely fine. In fact, that's the way it should be. That's how we all stay competitive. India is actually making an attempt right now, as we open up more and more from what some decades ago was a completely closed economy, to figure out a way to stand up and be counted amongst the best. We are today the only large economy in the world which is growing at over 6.5% GDP growth year on year every year, and showing promise to grow faster. But for our own needs, it's still not enough. Many people say, why do you guys crib? I'd give an arm and a leg to grow at anything over 2.5%, 3%. If you look at our own needs, we still have 800 million people in India who are being given free of cost food grain by the government of India, and this is public knowledge. It's not a favor the government is doing anybody. There is a genuine need in that section of society. So we have to find solutions for a completely different kind of problem. And I believe technology will be the big driver of change here. Because India has genuinely started to do things which it has never done before. I'm not sure how many countries have done this, because we're also trying to talk about a population of over 1.4 billion people here. We have the most sophisticated public digital infrastructure right now, more than any other country in the world at this moment. We are in fact sharing this knowledge with multiple other countries on individual identities. We are the only country in the world where you can transfer money instantly at no cost. So the UPI, the system, which is the underlying foundational system, has now been shared with multiple countries, including countries like Singapore, who are using this for transferring money in their systems as well. So I am not overly worried in the long term, but I do have concerns in the short term. So let me spend a few minutes back on what we are doing in India, and then I'll come back to this question again as to why it's important. Because I believe we have outgrown the old playbook that we had on our relationship. We must now decide who writes the next one and how it's written, in what language it's coded, and also who reads that next playbook. We need to make sure that as wide a set or section of our population on both ends benefits from this relationship. The only tool I believe that we have for making a positive, sustainable change is education. There is no other tool that can give you a positive, sustainable change. So the research, the innovation, the education that's going on, I think is the most powerful bridge, which needs not just to be maintained, but needs to be nurtured and grown further. Going back for a minute to India, what we're doing in terms of infrastructure right now, I'm not sure how many countries have actually done this. If you look at what India is doing, we have 140 airports right now. We're building 150 new ones in the next 5 years. The plan is 2 years, but I think it's 5 years in which they'll get built, which again, it seems almost impossible if you look at what any other country has ever done. Our highway building program, if you look at the highways as we go down from the expressways to the state highways going all the way down to the villages, it is the largest road building program ever on the planet. But our challenge is we have still not communicated this well outside of India as to all the good stuff. We do have many challenges. We've not, by a long shot, addressed all of them yet. But there is some really, really interesting good work going on. We've announced a new tax policy, indirect tax policy of late, which is making indirect taxation much simpler. 90% of goods have moved into one single rate of tax. We are looking at how technology can now be the big driver of change. So, and this, by the way, is the bridge which is actively working across both the US and India to look at space, to look at sustainability, to look at quantum computing. I'll leave for the Consul General to talk to us about this, because he's been in the middle of this conversation and this negotiation, which has brought about some wondrous developments. But at the same time, we do recognize that this hiccup that has come in at this moment needs also to be handled maturely. We need to figure out a way to get beyond this, to continue to build on the strength of this age-old relationship, which has existed despite geopolitical interests being different. When you look at countries like Russia, like Pakistan, like Iran, both of us see this from a different lens. But that's okay. That's why this is, as they say, a wondrous world. But at the same time, we can continue to build a special relationship between the two nations, which will benefit us at all different levels, on trade, on commerce, on defense, on research, on space. And now, over the last couple of days, we've gone and visited some of the wonderful work being done here in technology, because we are sitting, which is at the hotbed of innovation. We find that the spirit of get up and go is not just not slowed down, it has actually accelerated. And every time we come here, you get both charged up and excited to go back and do more. So I want to thank all of you for being part of this conversation that we have every year, because we take back many good ideas when we go back from here. And our team, which is very, very diverse, the group that has come from India, is made up of members from across, I've said this a few times now, across all geographies of India and of all industry verticals of India. So I hope you will have time post this to spend and have a conversation with each other and hopefully make some relationships and connections which can continue to strengthen later on. So Cindy, once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Reddy, for being with us today. We truly appreciate this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunil. I was really impressed by the framing that you provided in those entire remarks and really provided a picture, I think, for the rest of the conversation today. So it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, K. Shrikar Reddy, Consul General of India at San Francisco. So just a little bit of background. Before taking over as the Consul General, he served at the Department of Commerce in the Government of India as Joint Secretary, where he oversaw India's commercial relations with countries in Africa and the Middle East. Very impressive. He's been in the India Foreign Service since 2001, serving in various positions at Indian missions and leading critical delegations around the world. Please join me in welcoming the Consul General.
Yeah, thank you, John, for your kind words of introduction. Mrs. Cynthia Lavi, Chancellor, UC Santa Cruz. Sri Sunil Kant Munjal, Chairman, AIMA International and also Hero Enterprise. Sri TV Narendran, President AIMA and CEO Tata Steel Limited. Distinguished, we also have Rekha Sethi, DG AIMA. All distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Namaste, good afternoon. It is my honor and privilege to join you all at this 8th India-US conference organized by AIMA at this beautiful UC Santa Cruz campus in Santa Clara. I'm happy that this annual conference has become a good platform for dialogue and also to enhance collaboration between our two countries. I'd like to thank AIMA for bringing a high-powered CEO delegation and also organizing this conference every year. Let me take this opportunity to inform you about the recent developments in the Indian economy, including some of the measures taken by the Government of India to improve ease of doing business. And also I'll touch upon some of the aspects of the bilateral relationship. So as Sunilji has mentioned, Indian economy, Indian GDP is growing at a rate of 6.5%. In fact, today, the World Bank has upwardly revised the Indian GDP growth rate for the current year from 6.3 to 6.5%. Last week, the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India governor also revised it upwardly from 6.5 to 6.8%. As Sunilji mentioned, India is the fastest growing large economy in the world. And there are a lot of new developments, especially in various sectors. So as you're aware, with regarding to the startup ecosystem, India ranks third after US and China. We have close to 190,000 registered startups with our Department of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and we have 118 unicorns. Just to give you an example, just last week we had a listing of urban company. Within a week of its listing, it gave 100% returns. And this week and also in the coming weeks, some of the unicorns like Grow and PhysicsWala, Lenskart, so these are expected to be listed. And I'm happy that some of the VC funds from the US that are invested in these companies will also benefit from the listings of these unicorns. And also, as Mr. Munjal mentioned regarding the digital evolution, especially the UPI, we have this digital public infrastructure with three elements. One is the digital ID, Aadhaar. We have given the digital identity to 1.3 billion Indian people. We have this payment interface, UPI, where real-time payments are happening. In the month of, I think, August, we had 2 billion transactions on a real-time basis. And we have a digital layer also, where data is shared between entities and people. And this UPI, like I've been to India a couple of months ago, I've been to Delhi, Varanasi and also Hyderabad. So even if I go to a small outlet or a roadside vendor, so they will not accept cash or cards. You need to simply scan a QR code and simply make the payment, and you will hear a sound from a speaker that so and so amount, whatever you have transferred, has been received by the shopkeeper. So even people without any formal education also, they are using this UPI tools, and also this has also brought a lot of people from the informal economy into the formal economy, and also this also enabled Indian government to transfer for whatever funds to the beneficiaries without any pilferage. And also, like this thing now is being implemented in various countries like France, UAE, Singapore, Mauritius. So many countries are willing to accept this. Even I think there are suggestions. I think even the Sundar Pichai of Google also wrote to the US government to implement UPI in the US also. And also India also has become an important manufacturing country, especially we have success in couple of sectors, especially mobile manufacturing. Now India is the second largest mobile manufacturing in the world. So we are manufacturing around 18% of the global mobile phones, including Apple mobile phones and also Samsung. They are being manufactured in India. And even semiconductors, due to government effort, especially the Semicon India, the last few years we have seen an investment of over 18 billion US dollars, and we have some 6 units. We are having one semiconductor plant by Tata Electronics, and others we have assembly, testing and manufacturing plant, especially one by the Micron, which is being set up in Gujarat. We are hopeful that they'll start producing the chips by end of this year. Even in the artificial intelligence, we have the AI India mission, which with like support of 1.3 billion US dollars, we have a lot of elements in that mission. We have set up a computing capacity of close to 34,000 graphic processing units. This computing capacity is given at a very concessional rate or free of charge to especially startups, MSMEs, researchers, and also universities. And government is also trying to encourage Indian startups, AI startups, to come up with applications which will be useful in the socio-economic development, especially in the education, healthcare, and also agriculture, and also other applications like fintech and other sectors. And like the government has come up with this, we call it next generation reform, the GST reform. We started implementing from 22nd of last month. And we have simplified. Earlier we had 4 slabs of GST, 5, 12, 18 and 28. Now we only have 2 slabs, 5 and 18%. And also we have a certain commodities we charge 40%, especially commodities like tobacco, we charge 40%. But otherwise, this simplification of the GST has played a significant impact on the domestic consumption. Already we have seen during this festive month so much consumption, like a lot of people have already purchased or shown interest to purchase, especially auto and other consumer durables. So we are hopeful that this is going to play a significant role in like enhancing the GDP growth rate from 6.5 to 7 and 7.5%. And as Mr. Munjal mentioned, India needs to grow at 8% per annum to enable India to become a developed country by 2047, as like envisaged by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. But the government is also making all efforts to simplify the ease of doing business and also attract FDI into India. And coming to the India-US bilateral relationship, as Mr. Munjal mentioned, there is a small bump with regarding to the bilateral trade relations because of the 50% tariff imposed by this administration recently. But India and US, we have partnerships in all areas of human endeavor. Let me inform you about the sectors where we are doing quite well. Like I'll start with the space collaboration. So in fact, on 30th of July, history was made when a satellite, Earth observation satellite called NISAR, which is a NASA-ISRO synthetic aperture radar. So this is the first joint venture project between NASA and ISRO, which was put into the orbit from the India's space station. And in fact, this is a purely joint venture. 50% was contributed by India and 50% by the US. So Indian ISRO contributed the S-band radar and also the satellite launch vehicle and the spacecraft bus, while the NASA JPL in Los Angeles, it has contributed the L-band radar and the antenna and the other communication systems. Already, the satellite has started sending pictures, so it will cover whole Earth in every 12 days, and the pictures will help in especially climate-related issues we can resolve, especially like subsidence of land or the water table level, and also the melting of the ice caps and also the vegetation cover in all parts of the world. So this satellite is not only useful for India and US, but also it is a global good for all the countries in the world. And even defense collaboration is going quite well. So just in the month of July, the Boeing facility in Mesa, they have handed over 3 Apache helicopters to India. And this month, they'll be handing over additional 3 Apache helicopters to India. And we have these 31 MQ-9B drones, which will be supplied by General Atomics to India at a cost of close to $4 billion US. And the startup collaboration between India and US is going quite well. Yesterday itself, I have addressed 70 Indian startup founders who came to India to participate in the Saas Bhumi, the Caravan 6-day event. So we see like Indian startups are coming to the Bay Area in large numbers, especially to benefit from the vibrant startup ecosystem. As you're aware, in the Bay Area, the Indian diaspora, we have, I think 50% of the startups at least have one Indian founder or a CEO of Indian origin. And also we have a lot of VCs where we have a Indian partner or a Indian in an important position. So I think the Indian startups are also coming in a large, and we are also concentrated also organizing a lot of events to facilitate like coordination with the local VCs and also making them to connect with the mentors and also benefit from the overall startup ecosystem in the US. We hope to continue. And one more thing, I would like to inform that today, I think the governor signed a bill to declare Diwali as a holiday. So I feel this is a recognition of the contribution made by the Indian diaspora to the Californian economy, because as you know, Diwali is a festival celebrated by almost all Indians belonging to religions of Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and also Jainism. So I think this is a great day for us. Today, the governor signed this bill to make it a law. And the government of India also considers the Indian diaspora as a very important asset, and Prime Minister Modi ji holds all the Indian diaspora across the world, especially in the US, in high regard. So to reach out to the Indian diaspora and also to provide services at a more accessible level. So the government of India has opened 2 new consulates recently, one in Boston and other in Los Angeles. And also, in addition to that, we have opened 9 new Indian consular application centers, which earlier used to be only present in the cities where the embassy or the consulates were present. As you know, we have an outsourced agency, VFS, which runs the Indian consular application centers, where all the applicants for visas, passports, or OCIs, they need to go there and apply. But we have opened now in 9 new places, including one in San Jose from August. And one important thing is the application centers, we are keeping it open during Saturdays also, weekends, 6 days a week, so that you can apply during Saturdays. And also, we used to hear a lot of complaints from the Indian diaspora that sometimes it is very difficult for them to submit applications online. So now, for that, we have made that our service provider will do the online application filling also free of cost. Simply you need to take an appointment, go with your documents and get the services done. So that's it. So we are trying to make the services as easy and also as accessible as possible. And I wish you all an advanced Diwali. I wish Diwali brings you good health, happiness and prosperity. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate. Thank you.
Thank you. The Consul General agreed to take a few questions if you have any, or you can fire them at anyone on the panel. So please feel free. Yes, please. Can we get a mic across?
Hi, everybody. I'm Anu. By training, I'm an economist. So I'll start right there. And the question is actually for anyone in the panel who chooses to answer. We have a very clear theory, but I won't call it theories. There's a common sense about how the free enterprise system really works very well. And there's a very defined role for government. And there are reasons that government should be operating, and we have that. But now we have things that have been totally upended. We have a US government that, to me, is operating like a private enterprise trying to maximize profits. That's the way we would always write. What is it that private enterprises try to do? Basically maximize profits. Maybe subject to some constraints, but maximize profits. Now in this situation, when the rules of interaction and negotiation have been so completely upended, doesn't it make sense for India to think about developing what I call countervailing power, which I would translate into really strengthening regional cooperation, hiding behind China's skirts or behind Mr. Jin's pants, whatever it takes. Does that as an alternative way to sort of negotiate this bump that we're seeing? I would love to hear both from the people who've come from India as well as from Mr. Reddy, Dr. Reddy, as to what you would think of that. Thank you.
See, US is a very important economic partner of India. So just to give an example, like last year, the bilateral trade in goods and services was close to $212 billion US. While in trade in goods, India has a surplus of $45 billion US. In trade in services, more or less, it was even keel, and even the US side has a 100 million trade surplus in trade in services. So while for the US, the Indian exports as a percentage of US import, it is 1.5%. For India, it is 18%. And India, as you know, we set a target to reach $500 billion US by 2030. And as you know, we set a target to become a developed country by 2047. So we need to expand economic collaboration with all countries, including important partners like US. And to answer your second question, so India and also is working to enter into trade agreements with many countries. So I was the negotiator for the India-UAE free trade agreement, and after that we signed an agreement with Australia, even recently with the UK. So we are in final stages of negotiation with the EU and also some countries in the GCC. So we are also trying to expand, but we need to have economic collaboration with all countries, including our important partners like US, so that India can grow at at least 8% per annum.
I see 3 hands raised. So if you can fire all the questions in one go, because we have only 6 minutes more to go. So one to the gentleman here.
He's saying 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Sorry.
I'll be very quick. Very nice to see all of you.
Question only, please.
Question is, because AI, now the American government is putting visa fee, $100,000. And that is actually that's bad for United States, in my opinion. But I think it's going to help India more than US, because all the companies,
Right.
they go to India.
Thank you. Got it.
And I want
Can you
your
go to the
opinion.
gentleman in the white shirt, please?
Yeah, just a very simple question. We are doing pretty well on AI and all, but the two new waves are coming. One is a physical AI and one is a quantum, which will become really big in 5 to 10 years. Just want to hear what.
This side, please. We have two hands raised here. If you don't mind, we'll just club them all together and try and answer.
Sorry, this is not a question, this is a statement, but I've been helping Dr. Reddy with the India, this visa problem. I'm Monishi, the founder of IIT Startups and Pan IIT. Interesting thing has happened in the last couple of days. People in India who were worried about this $100,000 visa fee, they're saying, tell them to double it. I said, why? He said, you'll be surprised the number of GCCs that are looking for space in the 2-tier, 3-tier cities because they want to expand in India. I mean, this is going to be backfiring.
So you're answering his
probably.
question. Thank you. Give me one at the back, just behind you. Yeah, this gentleman.
I'll ask the same question that I asked Mr. Piyush Goyal earlier this year. I'm a space industry investor and advisor. What steps is the government of India taking so that venture capital can flow eastward, essentially for critical industries like aerospace and defense, and for creating
I'm
Atmanirbhar
sorry, we
Bharat
won't
by
be able to take
2050?
any more. Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to take that last one? Or the space industry? What steps is India taking for developing the space industry?
No, we want to know if there's any specific problem and specific suggestion, you can please email to me. I will give my card after this, because we need to know what is exactly specific, because we allow investment in most sectors. Even I think private players are also now allowed in certain space industry also. So if there's any specific issue you are facing, please write us and we will take it up with the our authorities back home.
So as an industry, it is growing in India right now, as you may be aware. Number of new and not so new entities have become players, and increasingly this sector is growing, including for rockets, satellites, etc., and drones, multiple. So we'll go back to the earlier question was, is this good for India? GCCs, we have 1,700 GCCs right now in India. And new ones are being set up at the rate of 1 a week. These are global capability centers, which replicate almost the headquarters of many of the large global corporations. And you're right, it is a rapidly growing sector which is benefiting from talent, which may, some of it may otherwise be going overseas. There was one more question I'm missing. There was what was it? On quantum. The quantum at this moment is not prevalent enough for anybody to take a strong view on how much it will do. That it can and will do a lot is almost certain. We are seeing India too, as you may be aware, taken on a quantum mission, and US is one of the partners that India is working with, along with some of the key companies from the US. There was one other question. So no, I think that I'm saying it kind of answered your question, because the H-1B visas is both affecting individuals and it's affecting companies. Both are getting affected, many of whom already had plans and now are looking for opportunities either within India. So it's both, it's not just H-1B, even the student visas have actually got impacted. So we were talking with Cindy a little bit earlier. She has not seen it so much, but there are some other universities which have seen a drastic reduction in numbers of students actually applying or coming in. They have started to apply to other countries or to look for opportunities in India. India of late had opened up the possibility of global and foreign universities who come and set up campuses in India. Earlier it was only allowed in partnership. Now they're allowed to set up their own. So I believe this will also trigger another initiative of more global institutions coming and setting up in India, I believe more of them will be in partnership than on their own, because they're still quite concerned about reputational risk, about being able to manage the red tape of operating in India. While we are working on ease of doing business, I think we still have some distance to go.